just doing a little cleaning up around the front yard of the base here. What is going on? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Vault Hunters here on the Leftovers server. I've been working out here in the new front area of the factory, trying to get things cleaned up a little bit, looking a little nicer, getting ready for this place to be a little more presentable from the front end here. I know we haven't looked at from this side very often. This is the view that Rob gets from his base over there. We got the artifact puzzle. Actually, that's kind of interesting. From the back side of the artifact, do those come through the same? It kind of does look like they actually are visible from the outside. That is cooler than I thought it was going to be. Fun little surprise there. But yeah, we've been just kind of working on getting the front yard here touched up just a little bit, getting a lot of the basalt and stuff replaced with dirt, and kind of starting to work on a little bit of the shoreline here, getting some of this cleaned up with some stone and whatnot, just to make this look a little bit nicer, a little more consistent. And then, we'll try to come in here later on and do a little decorating and make this look even better and more clean. But that is not the main part of the project today. Today, put on your aprons and grab your spatula, because we're going to do a little baking today in the factory here. I've got some things that we need to add to the mix here, and I think I hopefully have some kind of fun ideas on how we might be able to do that. So a couple of the main items we want to make here is the cake we started making in the, I don't know, a few episodes ago. We made our first chocolate cake here in the factory, and we also wanted to produce honey cakes as well. Now, I got the chocolate to produce the chocolate cakes. That is working on its way over here. Let's actually go check our levels of honey and chocolate out front here. What do we got in stock at the moment? Chocolate's a little bit low, and honey is a little bit low as well. Both of these are able to be produced, but they're kind of on hold at the moment. None of the systems have been operating for those at the current moment in time. So we'll get those fixed up here today, and then I want to get a little cake line going here. So we got the two toppings that we need for both of those, but we need the cake bases. So in order to get a baked cake base, say that one 10 times fast, we need to get the cake base, which means we need to get the dough, the sugar, and the eggs. Now, the dough, I'm thinking we can actually tie right into our sweet roll farm here, because we already have this logic over here that basically pulls excess wheat from the system if we have it, brings it over to here, crushes it up into here, and washes it into the dough. So I'm thinking we can tie into this, bring some dough off of this line, so we'll get the washed dough off of there. That will come over this way, and then from this side, we can bring in the other ingredients. So we need to bring in eggs, and we need to bring in sugar. So we can produce another sugar farm of sorts. Sugar's got to go through crushing reels as well. And then the eggs, we should be able to either get a animal plant of some kind in there, or get some actual stuff going on. So I did want to actually expand onto this factory in a couple areas here. I want to get like some farms out here for like the chickens and the cows we need for all the milk we're getting, and find good spots for those. And I'm thinking we do that maybe out. I don't know if it makes the most sense. This is where we have the most space to do it out front, but I'm not sure if this is where it makes the most sense. So that'll be a future thing. Let me know, what do you think the area of the base would make the most sense for those farms to be? Either out front here and make them look nice in the factory design, or we tuck them away somewhere. Yeah, I don't know if we have a lot of room anywhere else. Maybe we could put some up in these different areas here, some different pens and stuff. Back by the farming area, maybe would make more sense as well. We could put them back along this part of the base. We should have this is where our wheat comes from for the rest of that, so maybe we could do something back there. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. What area makes the most sense for that to be implemented into? And then once we have those ingredients together, We'll get the wheat coming in for that. We'll get the sugar. We could do something similar with the sugar here, or we could maybe just increase the production of sugar in this area. I kind of need more sugar than I need cocoa, though. So maybe we either modify this section so that, because this is currently, I need to fix this clock system here so that this actually runs more often. Currently, it's not really getting a lot of production time into this here module. But if we do that, we can take the sugar we're getting from here, produce some more of that. We can split some of it off to go into the chocolate production here, and then we can split some of it off to go into the production of cake down here. So here we'll pull off the dough. Over there we'll get some sugar producing into this module, and then we can take all of those ingredients here, smash them into one nice little cake area there, and then we have to do another furnace setup to actually bake the cake in this area here. So another something similar to this type of module, we could bake that in, and then from there we got to take the two cakes, split the cakes off into two separate lines with two more squirters on them like this. So this might end up like pulling off, going around, coming back or whatever, and then coming out to be here. So we'd have like squirter, 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 and have them all nice and lined up on this end of the factory. And then we can add more stuff down this end of the factory because there's still a few other items we need to get producing in the future. But let's dive in here and see if we can't tie in to the sweet roll line here and get ourselves baking up some cakes. I've been working a little bit on the infrastructure here around the factory, adding some of these little catwalk bridges. We've been adding in these few extra tanks, trying to get some of the pipes laid out and organized up top here. I had a little mishap with this one connecting up with the other one, and now we got a pipe half full of milk, unfortunately. It's going to be tricky. We got to make sure we route these in a way that they don't connect up to each other and cause any issues, but we do have to get the rest of them over there. So they are going to have to intersect, probably have the rest of them go over the top. I wish I had a way to support these better like we can with the create ones, because I'm pretty sure the create ones you can put the pipe supports on, which is kind of nice. But these ones I don't really have a good way to make it look like they're supported. So if you have any suggestions on how I could make these pipes kind of look like they're attached to the ceiling, or the walls, you know, things to actually make them look more supported in real physics, that would be wonderful as well. But for now, we're just going to have to kind of route them like that. We're going to add into these tanks here. So we'll go a couple high on each one of these, going to match the milk tank over here. And that is where we need to bring in the two different pipes here, one for chocolate and one for honey. I'm thinking this one we can actually bring in, I guess it's going to be one block off. We can bring this in along the edge of the ceiling here. And I will need to, I wonder if I can isolate this for a period of time like this. No, it's still going to end up with milk in it, isn't it? That's unfortunate. Okay, we'll have to sort out all of the different mixtures at some point. So I want those to not be connected, and then these can go like that. So that should be able to flow over top of that. Once we get the appropriate liquid in each one, I don't think we should have too much of an issue with them connecting. We just have to pull the milk out of that tank, which shouldn't be too bad over there. We can configure some of that later on, but then we need to run this one here. And this is part of the reason why I started doing this catwalk first, because this is actually going to be really helpful for us to figure out where all this stuff needs to go. So these, that one can run there, and this one can run just alongside the same path. As long as we stay a block away, we won't have to worry about these connecting up And I don't know if we upgrade these to like the more advanced ones to change the color of them if they would look better, or if we can come up with a different solution for that. I guess we're going to do the same thing here again, just so that we don't get a large volume. Otherwise, that entire tank is going to try to fill up with milk. I suppose, yeah, we kind of need that in the middle of there to be able to configure those. Can I fit that one in there? So we're gonna end up with a little milk in this tank, I guess, as well. That one comes into here. Let's see, we'll go across like this. Bam, and that will get that one going. So we should be able to have one tank of honey, one tank of chocolate now. And at the moment, that's all we need for the liquids, I think. Now we just need to start configuring the setup down below here and make sure we can get all the belts and everything into the right spots. I do need to get a source of power over here. I don't know if I just run maybe around the wall there to come down. We're going to need some additional electric motors probably as well, which are quite expensive, but we should be able to make that work. Try not to intersect like the pipes and the power cables and stuff as much as we can. I mean, we got a little bit of sloppiness through some blocks and stuff here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty well cleaned up. I guess we could maybe move that over one more block. We'll have to see how that goes, but let me try to grab some more pieces for over here and see what we can do about piping in or laying out some new conveyor belt setups for these two operations. All right, I've been working on a little bit of a side project here that I've gotten distracted with to try to improve the overall performance of the factory here and optimize some things. So obviously wanted to get the chocolate production up because when we looked earlier in the bulk tank out here, we didn't have a whole lot of chocolate production going on. So I need to get this level up in order to be able to produce the foods we want with this. So in order to get the chocolate production increased, I had to make some updates to the old sugarcane and cocoa bean farm that we were working on over here. So I had Blue make me up some SNAD to actually improve the sugarcane growth speed over here and added some extra cocoa beans in the back there. Now, I do have this finally on a rotational cycle. Before, this thing actually wasn't firing all the time, so it wasn't really harvesting very often, which now we've got that little contactor in the back here so that every so often this thing, when that triggers, basically it sets a 5-minute timer on this in order to trigger the machine to run again. So this machine should basically fire and run every 5 minutes essentially, and then that sugarcane and cocoa beans feed into this system over here. But now you can see we have a little bit of an imbalance with the sugar, too much sugar, not enough cocoa beans. So getting that mixture right is kind of important. And then with that, I realized that's all fine and dandy, but I don't want this to overproduce on sugar necessarily if we don't need it to. So I figured I would actually have some implementation of an overflow system here that makes it so that this thing doesn't just keep producing sugar and grind it out onto the belt here if we don't actually need it. So I wanted to dive in to a little bit of the back area here. Eventually I had some cool plans for down here, but for now this is kind of the rough and tough plan for what this thing is actually going to be here. Now currently we just have that pumping from one farm to the other, like I was saying. I think I would like to implement a system in here that essentially allows this stuff to go into the warehouse first and then be pulled back out for production. So I've got a few extra things here, and I'm realizing now that I don't have any cables. So should I go all the way back? So basically we're going to remove this pipe from here. Basically all the way back to this other portion. I might not need to go all the way back, so you might want to keep part of that just to reduce the amount of AE cables we need, because they're more of a pain for me to craft than the mechanism ones, even though they're all kind of resource intensive. So if we get some cables here, okay, good. We do have some ME cables. We'll get those. I think we can make this work with 64 for now. And this will give you a little bit of a backstory, history, whatever, behind the scenes look at how the factory kind of functions in the background as well, because I've got this whole network down below. I've actually ran an entire dense cable from the main system here over into the factory area so that we can use this for things like when we built the sweet roll farm. I think I may have showed you this, that we got this kind of smart detection that's showing, measuring the limits or the amount of certain stuff we have in here. So if we branch off of this with our applied energistics cable, this is going to give us a few different options here for what we want to happen in this particular area. So I may even advance this one step further here if we can. But let's take and say this barrel here. Can I mine a little bit more on here? We're getting really close to the floor level, but I want to have... No, okay, yeah, we lost a little block there. It's fine. So I want to have basically just a barrel here as an interface between that and there. So when we put into this barrel, we'll get sucked up into that item vault up above there. And currently, I don't think the item vault has anything in it, but we'll worry about that in a second here. Bear with me. This is going to be a little bit of an interesting one to try to explain here. Actually, for now, let's detach that altogether so we can see how this is actually going to work. So the idea behind this is we will have an export bus here that goes into the bottom of a barrel. And this will allow us to export items from the system. And I'm realizing now I need an additional piece for this. Please hold while I find that. This is kind of cool the way, like, you could do a lot of more advanced, I guess, kind of double checks and calculations and things within the system in order to get what you need done here. Okay, redstone card I think is what we need. Let's just grab a couple of those. I think I want them for some other stuff as well. Might be some other cards we need here, but we'll run with this at the moment. So by doing this, we can kind of make the whole factory smarter, right? It's not reliant on constant maintenance and making sure things aren't overflowing and having to double check things all the time. It's just relying on its own logic here that we're implementing into the system. So let's see. We can do... How do I do this? I kind of want to make a little AND gate here, and I know of a way to do it. I'm not sure if I know of a clean way to do this. Maybe I do. Let's go like... So this will obviously have to be connected to that. We're not going to do that just yet until I get this all implemented. So I'm thinking if I do 2 different emitters here, right? This would be... can I just do this with these? Sugarcane, if this is, say, emit the level when sugarcane levels are above 500 for now. And then I want to do when cocoa beans are above level 500 for now. And you can see the cocoa beans are not above 500, but the sugarcane is. So this is where the kind of fun part comes in here. I think we need to run... Can I not put a comparator? Okay, I can. I'm just standing in the way. My feet are in the way. So if we do this, and then I don't know of a good way to do this any simpler than an old school AND gate here. Do I have any redstone on me? Of course I don't. So let's see. I might have to move that barrel and stuff. But if I can go grab a little bit of redstone here. We're doing some old school vanilla redstone here for parts of this. So we're kind of mixing the modded features we have with the level emitters and whatnot, and some old school logic, because I want to... Essentially, the objective here is to only allow this thing to produce chocolate when I have enough of both resources in the system, right? So we have to have enough cocoa beans, and we have to have enough sugarcane, essentially, so that there is enough of a backup between both. Yeah, I was a little bit confused here for a second, but I think I've got this figured out now. So that if both of these comparators come on, so let's just say we'll turn this down to how much sugarcane or how much cocoa beans we have to have. If both of these are on, this light comes on. If one of these is not on, so if one of these levels is not above, the torch here is off. So that gives us the option here. Where does this need to go? Will this work? Export here with the capacity card and the redstone card. So this needs to be redstone mode active with a signal. So this will only import items when both of these levels are actually met. So if both sugarcane and cocoa beans are over 500, this should start pumping into there. And then we can run this over to here. This is kind of janky, actually. Let me see. I'm just trying to... This is one of the reasons why a lot of times this designing stuff and building stuff on camera kind of takes a lot of time and is hard to do, is because in the moment that I'm trying to do all this stuff, I am also just like that, thinking about like, okay, I can actually make this a little cleaner, I think. Is that going to be powered by that block, I wonder, though? If I put this here and put a redstone card in there and say it's only active with a signal, is that going to import something like sugarcane? Let's test it. Okay, so that seems to be... Okay, it is powering that. Damn it. So we got to move that. So that idea didn't work. So this is where we go back to what I just had. And we put the barrel here. We put the exporter here with redstone and capacity. Active with a signal. We just have to run this goofy and make ourselves a new hallway. This is why this stuff is hard to make it organized. It's all kind of a hot mess here. And then if I do sugarcane now, this should not put anything into there because these conditions are not met. This should not be powered yet. This should be empty. Okay, excellent. So that is working now. And then we want, obviously, cocoa beans in here as well. Export the first item until the network is empty, then try the next. Shuffle mode, export using round robin mode. Export items in random mode. No, so I think we want this in round robin mode, so it takes turns doing sugarcane, cocoa bean, sugarcane, cocoa bean. Because that's kind of the mixture we're looking for above, right? So basically this makes it so that our system is now limited to those two things. And then we can do... I needed another barrel over here. So if we just bring a barrel up to there, we can then import the items from the farm over there. So the cocoa and the sugar beans. Sugar beans? Cocoa beans? Sugar. Yeah, you know what I mean. But this also allows us another option that I'll show you here in a second that I think is going to be really helpful for us. First of all, let me grab a cocoa bean out of the system here. And then let's grab another barrel or maybe a few of these because I think this is going to be something we're going to want to do in multiple locations around the base here. At least for the factory. Like this is kind of this is the fun part for me, like automating the factory production so that we can produce things in different areas of the base and then tie it all together with this fun logic to make it all make sense. So from here, this will just pull from the farm that's actually producing. So this will be great test. We'll actually get sugarcane and cocoa beans into here. And then we can just slap an import bus onto this machine here that will basically allow us to, as an interface here, import the cocoa beans and sugarcane right into the system. So that's all going to just come into here, get pumped in to the system here. Actually, we need, well, I'm thinking about this now. I don't think we have a location for cocoa beans in the warehouse, if I'm guessing, which is another important thing we need to make sure of. So if we run into the warehouse here, I don't know. Okay, we do have actually cocoa beans in here. Great. We might have missed it a little bit there, but we should have cocoa beans producing in here. And this actually now allows us to, not only do we have a, functional, usable space over here, this is all great, but we also have a backup plan now. If production is low or we need to boost production for, a large order of cakes or something that may come in, if someone gets real hungry and starts eating a lot of our snacks or something like that, we can also plop these into the other system here because this system is producing items that are going to the warehouse as well. So say we wanted to boost up the cocoa beans to get them up to the levels we were just talking about in order for it to start producing chocolate again, we can simply right here just boost the production of cocoa beans that we're getting in the system. That'll fill in to the drawers here in the warehouse. You can see the number goes up a little bit there. And then once that reaches our threshold of 500, not only do we have production of chocolate going in now, but we save at least 500 of those items in the system so that if we need them for something like the ultra automation over here, it's not going to completely suck us dry. We still have a backlog of cocoa beans and sugarcane, which this is why we have so much sugarcane in the system compared to the cocoa beans. We could probably pull that one out of there for now. I've been producing a variety of different stuff in here. But it allows us to basically have a backlog to feed the altar with from the system as well. So not only can we get full-time production, but we also have spare items to feed the altar if we so need those things in our recipes. So a little bit of a side quest there. Hopefully you enjoyed that kind of explanation of what it takes to kind of run the factory behind the scenes here. I do a lot of this kind of distracted optimization in the backgrounds because I want things to run smoothly. I want to kind of be able to build this and run it hands off. And then obviously we need to be able to keep up with the production of chocolate and all that in order to produce the things we want to produce over here. So our supply of chocolate is slowly going to start increasing now. Get 67,000 in there. But we haven't even been using the chocolate yet. So once we start creating things like chocolate bars and chocolate covered cherries and chocolate cakes, we're going to need to keep that production of those items flowing. And that is the way we do it in the background there. So now all we need to do is just produce more, get more into the system, and then the machines here can pull what they need from the system and be able to operate essentially autonomously. So that is kind of the luxury of tying everything together here into one very smart factory operation. Oh boy, did I get carried away with this one. This is a little more complex than I was expecting. So I got a lot of progress made so far here. This is back again to the reason why a lot of this doesn't necessarily happen on camera, because this is taking me hours to configure all of this in a way that makes everything connect. Hopefully doesn't look absolutely terrible. This isn't the nicest looking contraption in the middle. But we got a lot of things going on here, and I'm hoping that now I can bring you in for the final touches, integrate everything in together here, and actually start producing some cake. So we still got to work on that. Actually, I just forgot about that as well. So we got some things to do yet here, but just trying to get all of these different belts laid out and rotating in the right direction is a doozy on its own. So I think we've got a pretty good start to all these different pieces. I'm going to run through and try to explain what we got going on here, hopefully in a way that makes some sense. And then we're also going to try to get this thing tied together. So for starters, I'm already remembering one thing that I'm missing. I'm going to put another modular router in there, and we're going to camouflage it with this block here. I think that's going to look really nice. Maybe I want a camouflage upgrade for that one as well. Okay, let's grab a couple more parts here real quick on the fly, and hopefully we can get this going. I'm going to need another... let's grab another camouflage upgrade like so. If we get some of these going, that way we can hide that other modular router in there. And then I need a vacuum upgrade for, or whatever this is, vacuum module for the modular routers here. So this should be helpful there. And then I needed, I think, a tank possibly to help me remove some of the garbage liquid that we had outside. I think we got milk in the wrong tanks and whatnot, and our other one still is not quite functioning over here yet. Is this still making stuff? I gotta check on that too, because I'm not sure we're actually making chocolate over there at the moment. Anyway, on to the next problem at hand. Let's take one of these. Do I have a... It's got to be one of these. I'm trying to use like a mix of all these blocks. Here we go. I want to get one of these little fan blocks in there. That looks kind of nice. So we're going to put the vacuum upgrade in here. I don't know what this is. By default, I want to put a whitelist on this. Crap. We're going to need a sender module for that as well. We'll get there. See, this is where there's so many pieces of this to think about before we actually can get everything working. So I'm going to plop down 2 chickens on the ground here. Bam, bam. Hopefully Rob doesn't show up. Get those. There we go. Those are going. This router here has a little activator module in it here that's going to auto bucket the chickens here. So we should be able to get some chickens producing a couple eggs. I don't want to put too many in there. It looks like every 5 minutes we should get a couple of eggs. That should be fine. I wanted to actually whitelist eggs in this thing here, so that hopefully if these get squirted out of there, they should get picked up into there. Perfect. I'm going to need another augment for that. Let's get that squared away first, and then we'll move on to the next thing. One thing at a time here. This is, you know, factory mastery work here. We need the fishy, what is it called? The pickup, quick pickup upgrade, I think. We want that, and then we want a sender. Sender, I just met her. Sender module number 1. Get that going in here. This should solve most of these problems, I do believe. So if we pop back down in here, go to this module. I think this goes in here. So that should pick that up quickly. And then we're going to sender upward so that those eggs should go into this thing. Excellent that I already put the... Oh, we'll have to check that too. I need to make sure I get a magnet suppressor as well. So this should export or output eggs into there. Cool. And then down here, bam, eggs are going to go in there. So we got eggs producing in here, getting sucked up by that, into this, into there. Here, we need to put a brass funnel down. And this can only accept dough. We don't have a magnet suppressor, so I got to get one of those. But this should then do a split. So half the dough should go that way, half the dough should come this way. Just make sure that's working. Cool. Looks good there. So we got dough in one side, we got eggs in the other side. And then over here, it's like a parkour course. We should be able to extract the sugarcane out of this. If all goes well, sugarcane will come up and over into... Why is this not moving all of a sudden? Have I somehow, like, run out of power? I didn't check. I mean, those battery or the motors use a lot of electricity, but yeah, our battery bank is completely sucked dry at the moment. Network stress 62%. Can we up this to 75 RPMs? So yeah, our production over here, 105 FE per tick per nodule there. This is not having to function all the time. 72%. We can crank this a little bit higher. I don't want to like completely max it out, but stored energy 200 FE. Yeah, I think we're maxed out on power. Our electric motors in here are consuming so much power that it's not even able to keep up. We might want to do something about the quantity here. I feel like we're gonna overproduce on the sugar. Okay, we got 2 baked cakes in there. Let's just pull all the supplies out of here for now. We're moving on. We'll fix the power another time. We can filter this so that only baked cakes come out of there, right? So we got sugar, we got dough. We need eggs still. In 16 seconds, we should get some eggs. Hopefully, we're going to have to maybe breed those guys up a little bit. Yeah, we got way too much sugar coming in. So I think we need to regulate the amount of sugar somehow. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe we can try one of those logistical sorters. See if that reduces the item. There you go. You see the eggs popped out there. They went down into there. 2 eggs should go up to make 1 more cake. Then, if that works... I'm on the wrong side here. Bam. Why is this... Click the item. Why is that not... Is that not going to pull out of the bottom of there? Ooh. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to figure out a solution for that, apparently. The cake should pop out here is what I would have expected. But I got to figure out why that doesn't pull out from below. Interesting. Not a problem I expected to have, but we will certainly come up with a solution for it. This should pull into here anyway once that gets going. Crap, that's going to be a problem I'm going to have to fix. We're out of power. Oh, okay. I got to get one of these cakes at least cooked up here. and then set a filter on that guy. I don't know if that one's going to cook fast enough. Unfortunately, no, it is not. So we need to just block this with something else for now, so that should stop at the end there. That should cook up. Should be able to take this, replace that with that. So this cake, we make sure it gets cooked before it goes through. The cooked one should go through there and pop out over here in one of these, right? Yeah, there we go. Cake comes out there, comes around, and then we have to fix the 2 issues with the wrong liquids in our tank here as well. So this should be, oh shoot, extracting. It's a very small target. Should be extracting that from there, like so. Oh, we made a regular cake on accident. How about that? Look at that. If you squirt milk over top of a regular cake, it just turns into or a cake base. I didn't know that was going to happen. Well, that's kind of cool. But if we don't want that, we obviously want the other stuff. We could have had a whole third line for regular cakes. Okay, so I got a few things to fix here. Let me see what I can come up with for these new problems we're having. Oh my goodness, we're getting way too much on the sugar cane. Can I access this? Yes, I can. Sweet. Let's just make this stop outputting for now, because that's ridiculous. And let me see if we can't get these little problems fixed up and move on with the rest of the cake production. After a little bit of finagling, I think we've got all of the problems solved. The issue we were having here was because I didn't have the recipe actually whitelisted up top here, and we were producing sugar blocks, sugar cubes, which I didn't even know was a thing. So that is now all fixed up. We got the sugar cane at the moment seems to be limited. I guess that's actually probably not even connected to there, so I maybe have to fix that a little bit here yet. I got the chicken here bred up a few times so that this guy is going to be hopefully, whoop, there we go, produce enough eggs as they spew all over the place. Is that going to pick them up quick enough? Looks like that is going to be just fine. And then we've got this situation over here sorted out now, so these actually come out the right directions. And we've got cake coming out both ends, so yeah, we got these 3 new cakes fully automated and producing in the factory here. So I say we give these things a little taste test because I haven't actually had these before. Honey cake, delicious. Little chocolate cake, not so bad. That one actually does more saturation than the chocolate one by the looks of it. And some regular cake, or maybe I'm mistaken. I don't know. Did I see that right? Looks like maybe it does. But yeah, there's really no real purpose for the benefit of these at all in the game, but I wanted to automate them here in the factory, and that is what we have done. So we've officially got full cake production going in the factory here, and I am excited about it. We've got these going right into the warehouse over here now, so we've got a full supply of sweets here at the factory. We've got sweet rolls, of course. We've got honey cakes, chocolate cakes, regular cakes, and we've got a few more to add to the list in the future. But for now, I think that is going to do it with all the rambling and explaining today. It has been quite a long one, so hopefully you enjoyed the episode. And if you did, smack the like button for me and join me again real soon for some more factory shenanigans.